Welcome back, people. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How are you doing? How are you doing, people? The game apparently imploded a bit. I opened it and I actually was thrown into a nebula without any kind of terrain. It was all like brown. Something like, thank you, I don't want to listen to myself. There we go, thank you, perfect. There we go. So the game didn't load the first time I actually opened it today, some seconds ago. Okay, so now it seems to be working. Okay, so let's remove all of these. Welcome to day number 23. Yo, good night. Hello, Patrick. Sorry that I started some 10 minutes late. I know it's terrible for you, but in this case, the game just imploded. I just opened it and it was all at zero, and it was all like no terrain, anything at all. So I had to open it several times. How you doing, Patrick? Nice. Happy Tuesday to you as well, because it's a new week. It's always a good time when it's a new week for all of us. Indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's always good to start a new week with all of you right here. Well, I can remove all of those as much as I can. Perfect. And yeah, it's true. The difference in time zone shouldn't exist. It's the worst thing ever. For example, I play Star Wars: The Old Republic during the weekends with my friends from the US, and the time zone with the West Coast sometimes makes us some groups, some finish earlier than us. You got an A. I studied so hard for a piece easy test. I can relate to that feeling. Can relate to that feeling. Sometimes that feeling when you overstudy for a test. That feeling when you overstudy for a test and you read things that really you didn't need you really didn't need to read to have a perfect score. No, congratulations, Patrick. Uh, uh, Always be proud of being a good student. Always be proud for being a good student. Always, 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 always. In that sense, never, never feel like a nerd and those stupid things. Always be proud of studying, and it should always be your priority, without a doubt. So good. Ah, I also loved your question the other day. Quite introspective. If I missed something in life, I indeed do miss a lot of things. I only had time to tell you about the people I miss, but I couldn't tell you about the things I miss. I miss the 90s, of course. You know, I'm a kid from the 90s, so I miss the 90s, back when cell phones didn't dominate our lives. My teacher is the most kind-hearted woman in the world. She basically made the test much easier. Well, I did have teachers like that, but I also had ones that were a bit more strict, and I also appreciated them for it. Uh, they did it with, as you are mentioning, with the best intention as well, to make of us good people of society, and that's why I hate those pools of acid. Wait, what? Where was I sent to? So yeah, the ones that are strict here, let's say, that are a bit harsher, they also have their good hearts. Not all of them, but where did this shit send me to? I just died? It sent me to King's Hill, what the fuck? This game is broken today or what? It sent me to King's Hill. But yeah, I can relate to that. I can relate to what you are describing 100%. I had like easier ones, But in my case, I had a soft spot for the ones that were a bit harsher, because at the end of the day, they did so because their passion was greater, because they wanted to make out of us good people of society. Do you miss? Do you sometimes miss love, like relationship love from your life? I do suffer from loneliness sometimes. Yes, uh, not. I wouldn't say all the time, but yes, Patrick. Of course, it's absolutely normal and natural. It's absolutely normal and natural. Uh, it is true that if you want my 2 cents, our parents and grandparents had a much more natural situation than what we are having. Sadly, if you ask me, thanks to the Obama administration and some cultural changes in society, that I think they are quite defective, quite defective. Um, but still, it has always happened throughout the history of humanity. The best thing you can do about that is thinking that it has happened to all of us. It has happened to all of us. Even more in the situation that is then amplified because of the because of the cultural context in which we are living. So it's amplified by that. So it's absolutely natural, if you ask me. I did feel it, and I am like one generation before you, so even more. I feel the difference because I was kind of like right. You when you were born, pretty much the digital age had already begun. When I was born, pretty much personal contact was uh, still in the end, it was like the end of it, but still was the norm. It was already a bit weakened, but it was still the norm. So yes, I do miss a lot. I do miss a lot, and I do think it's absolutely sad that really because of intolerance by I discussed this with some friends over at Star Wars Your Republic uh, last weekend, precisely uh, that, and I agree with my friends that nowadays girls are in a lot of cases, not all of them, of course. Let's not generalize, but they are taught to behave in a mean way, and I agree with the person who said it, honestly, in that sense. So yeah, it's absolutely sad that this could have easily been avoided with a what the with a proper education by people who are prepared to educate younger generations. But sadly, I do believe that a lot of the people that are in charge of education, of public education, are sorry, they are way too illiterate. They are way too illiterate to and shouldn't be in charge of it. They are way too illiterate to they just don't have the knowledge to deal with that. I hate that. I'm a single guy, pretty smart at my age, and muscular. Corti, can you show? Hello, now I read a message. I like living healthy, and I'm still alone after many regions. Other people get girlfriend by smoking weed in the park. Basically, if I say I'm not 30% in love, but it would be quite nice appearance. I agree with you absolutely. Hello, Corky. Can you show your damages, teacher? I just come back to the game and everything has changed. Corky, I am a newbie player. I review games. I review games like on Variety. I'm just doing the story and I'm being helped with by my great friends here, the community itself of Drakensang Online, and even from my streams. In that sense, I can show you whatever you'd like. I'm using a build that one of them suggested for the mage that is that the person played a lot, Umbra. So he tests all of his builds. So here I can show you. This is my damage, and this is my build for level 58. As I've said, it's my first time playing the game. I review them. I review games, and one of my viewers precisely asked me to review this one. Patrick, getting to you. Don't. Yeah, it's. I can relate exactly to that very same situation, except for the part of the muscular guy. I've never went to the gym, and I will never do so. In that sense, but getting with people with those smoking habits and etc. will not get them uh, anywhere serious, if you ask me. Is the ice build the best? I asked help about to ChatGPT and I now have variable meteor build. Yes, and I can tell you why, Corky. Even if I'm a new player, I've been analyzing the game for 23 days. And how is it going? Hello, hello, District. How's it going? Corky, this build is the only one viable, really, that you see here for solo play because it's a sequential skill tree. The other three are non-sequential. Here, Patrick and District know much more about the game and can confirm it to you. They are kind of like seasoned, hardened players of the game. But here, if you read here, you can see that the damage of this skill is actually affected by this thing here that is called Frostwind. So I activate this, and by hitting enemies with this, it put the 3 points to your ice missile. I didn't have them last time. Ah, right, we level up with District. Yeah, true. Here. So District, you would lend me a great hand. Where is this Jarlshofen? Pretty much I need to go there. Apparently I need to talk. I just started, the game imploded on me sometimes before I started the stream. But basically I'm looking for that. Do you remember the region more or less? It sounds like the Northlands. But in Brigavik. So yeah, regarding the skill tree, Corky, it has to be that one because it's sequential. The abilities enhance each other, as I was mentioning to you. Look at the description here. It launches the ice missile. Here, this one is an evasion. But if you see here, the Frostwind goes to the roof Karthum. In parallel world, there should be an entrance. Okay, Norland, where the city is glowing. Okay. Let me guys show him the skill tree because he's a returning player and wants to know a bit about it. So Frostwind basically will enhance the ice missile, and the Frost Nova will also enhance it. If you play the ones that ChatGPT told you, well, you can see here that the Fireball really does not enhance the damage of the Meteor or the Guardian here. It's absolutely disconnected. The same for the Lightning skill tree and the physical skill tree. This build that you see here was tested by another viewer that I have called Ambra. Always I salute you. He generally joins a bit later. And he has played the game a lot and he has tested this build endlessly. So I can assure you that if a newbie player like me could get through a lot of the game with this skill tree, it's absolutely perfect. Then you have Blood Mage to use your health bar as your resource instead of your mana, and then the Master of Ice, which enhances the damage. As for this one is a combination between the skill tree that Patrick suggested to me, and I did a bit of a modification for Blood Mage as I needed more health regeneration due to the fact that Blood Mage here, if you see there, the damage that you do to yourself is in percentages rather than a fixed amount of health. So I enhanced here and here my health regeneration. And the two-handed staff is nowadays better than the one-handed staff. No, according to the district here, no. I am using it because I'm in a portion of the game. I'm just doing the story as I was mentioning. I'm just doing the story, and I'm at a point. I'm at a point in which I just looted whatever I could because there's a jump from level 55 to 80. So I just looted that one, but otherwise I would use the one-handed staff and a tome or something like that because it gives you more possibilities of surviving. Not only in the city. I have a random question. What is your opinion on Kaizenat? Damn it, today I have way too many debate topics. District has one and Patrick had another one. Okay, we can do each one of them. But Corky, more or less, you get the idea. When you quit the game, I'm new, but according to what District here told me, the game made a huge this one made a huge change when it expanded from level 50 to 100 when the Chinese company bought it and everything went to shit. We even have a nice emote to show our love for the developers for ruining it like that. Indeed. Okay, I will go in order because Patrick made a question before that one district. Regardless that, I do agree completely that nowadays, as I was telling you that I discussed, Patrick, the all of this could easily be solved through a good education system, and it's an absolute pity that we've been waiting for this stream for days. Of course, for days. I was here on Thursday, Patrick. I was here on fucking Thursday. It kills you. The transition from Thursday to Tuesdays. God damn it. Yes, you are level 47. Okay, I'll try to go with all of you. As I'll just follow the line here, and I'll try to get to the three of you. Need to do everything in. Yes, I'm level 47. I had like 5 years ago got playing with this game. Now I can come back last week, and I'm so bad. Now smile. Okay, Corky. Well, my experience as a new player, I can reply to you. I'll go in order. So, Patrick, in your case, I'll go in order. Patrick, in your case, I think a good educational system could have fixed all of that, and I think it was deliberate. It was a deliberate attack on precisely the lab between men and women as part of a plan to reduce the overall population because they broke the pension systems in 2008. District, about the streamer that you are mentioning, quite famous, that does, let's say, reckless things on stream. I think it doesn't provide anyone watching anything at all. I'm sorry. I think it's a huge amount of stupidity, the content itself, and I think he is an instrument of the Democrat Party directly. I think he's an instrument of the Democrat Party to make the population dumber in that sense, because really the content doesn't have any logic or anything at all if you watch it for 5 seconds, which is the most I could stand it in that sense. And I think it's a terrible example for society, especially for young children. Good opinion. I agree with it. I think it's a terrible example for society, especially for children. Third, Corky. Yes, you are level 47. Need to do everything again. You are so bad now. What awaits you? Be ready, because the game is, or has turned, I presume, I didn't play it back in the day, but according to what I played, is extremely grindy. Be prepared to dedicate a lot of time for it. Unless you have a group or someone who can boost experience you. In my case, because I'm streaming and they all appreciate me and love me, they help me boost, especially District here. He is an angel. He has helped me a lot. He asked me for the review, but he's helping me with all of it in that sense. So unless you have a group, be ready to grind a lot, Corky. I do game recommendations all the time. I review variety games, and I can assure you that the difference in proportion of the experience rate of this game is not uh, similar to the modern quality of life standards of most isometric action RPGs, right? Grinding solo, of course, blame the... He probably said viewers. He said viewers. Remember, Patrick, when you want to write that word, of course he probably said viewer. Grinding solo, maybe need to find some players at my level. Yes. Yes. The problem is that, precisely, just like some viewers have told me, according to what I deduce, a lot of the players in this game are bots. They are bots that then sell the account, and basically the developers do nothing about it. That's what I've been told, and reality matches in a lot of cases. So the players that still play the game, in that sense, Koki, the players that still play the game, out of that proportion, district here that played the game for a lot of time as well, told me that roughly, no, not you, Patrick, not you, not you, not you, not you. Roughly only 30% out of 100%, 70% don't get a group, and 30% do get it. If you can check it, can we check the general chat here? For example, here, there you go. Look at this, Corky. Please look at this. We looked at this last time. See all of these people in different. Hey, La Guild Italy. Hey, this one is from the motherland, from Italy. There. You see the helps only in parallel world. Here as well, apparently. In Kings Hill here. They are also asking for help district. So this will happen to you. You will farm a lot. You are now at 47, you said, right? Let me check the message. 47. Okay, this is what is going to happen to you. You are close to the turning point, let's say. You will get to level 55 from 47 to 55. I was that some 2 weeks ago. Okay, you'll get to 55. Once you get to 55, you will encounter the region I'm in, which is the not this one, that I'm doing the quests for, called the Underworld, and there will be a jump from 55 to 80. It was that region I was in that I was a bit lost before I was following the quest. That one that was a bit obscure, that one a bit dark. Well, the jump will be brutal, and you will be forced. Here I still have, see that I have some gear, 64, 51. Well, that's why I'm using level 80 double-handed staff, basically. I just tried to loot, like a little hamster, whatever I have, to even try to begin farming it. But even like that, it will take you probably weeks or months, depending on how much time you can invest on it. So it's a very grindy game, especially if you play solo. It's a very, very grindy game. I have also mentioned that if you played it back in the day, the game it's not like Diablo, that you will have a story to go along with it to kind of like compensate those things. So prepare to grind a lot. And what I would suggest you is make friends to boost level, to boost farm until you can get to the end level, and apparently in the end game you can play it like in a more stable way. But still, what I told you, the population and the developers precisely do not seem to care a lot about it. It has the bots and precisely that. So don't know if it helped. More or less. If you have any other questions, no worries. More or less, those are my impressions after 21 days. They are all experts. So let's see. Good opinion. I agree with it 100%. So the person started a riot illegally in New York. Also, many police officers were hurt, and the kids broke into the store. Recently, Patrick. And your second message, of course, he blamed the viewers. Remember, when you would like to write the word viewers, you have to do it separately, due to the fact that otherwise the bots attack the channel. Patrick, try writing it with a space in between some of the letters, and it will work. Patrick, I've never done botting in Drakensang online. Only in Parallel World you see the helps. Okay, pretty much, more or less, I covered it. Pretty much it's like that. Regarding starting the riot illegally in, I don't know if it's recent or because he had done that before. I think you are mentioning the past that he did that. The person should go to jail. I'm sorry. The person should go to jail. Starting a riot and disrupting the order for a normal, hard-working population shouldn't be taken lightly, and the person should go to jail. I'm sorry. You can see people that here, well, poor Corky, that you just stumble upon the channel. They also love when I debate. I debate about a lot of things. I'm a scholastic philosopher. I deal with a lot of metaphysics and stuff when I review the games, and that's why you see they ask me a bit about society and politics in that sense. So it's just that. So precisely the, as I'm a scholastic philosopher, precisely for me it's objective that a riot is a crime. Taking the stores as you're describing, Patron. Precisely. By the way, I had a real conversation when I explained, where you explained realism with your. That's interesting. Using knowledge to test its how solid it is. That's an interesting thing. Okay. By the way, you had a real conversation where you explained realism with my words to my heavy relativist friend who is working illegally. Let's just say that. Yeah. No more. Nothing helpful happened because he said, "I don't care if I hurt anyone, if I can get stupidly rich." Basically, it wasn't a successful conversation. For me, it was a good learning lesson, and I explained it pretty clearly. Well, Patrick, is precisely what I mentioned to you. Precisely what I mentioned to you. You told me that you could understand realism without any kind of problem, and I told you it was not going to be the most common case for most of the population, as I precisely told you how seductive, how tempting relativism is in that sense. Why? Because it does not make you take responsibility for your actions. You don't take any responsibility if you just think that everything is a matter of opinion and that objective reality in the arrangement of molecules in the plane of time and space really doesn't matter. That is not objective. That is all part of your mind. In that sense, it's always sad to hear that the conversation wasn't fruitful, but the reality of the situation is that it doesn't surprise me. What I would tell the person is that money will not make him happy in the end. 100% if that's his philosophy. Why? Because while it is absolutely needed for society to work and everything, and it has its importance, even if he becomes rich, he does not understand why he acts like he acts. In that sense, he is like in ancient Greece we would say it's a leaf that is being taken by the current of the river. In that sense, when you cannot explain why you say or do anything in life, when you cannot explain why you act like you act, then there's two options. Either you are being influenced unknowingly by relativism, which is the case most of the time, or simply what he's mentioning, that he does not care. That I don't care, not caring about anything, about I don't mean talking about politics 24 hours a day. It's not what I mean. It's not what I mean, Patrick, talking about politics or thinking about politics 24 hours a day, or the morality of his actions. In that sense, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, basically influenced by rich American drug dealers and rapper. Well, but you can see it and he can't. That is the problem. That's a limitation way too difficult to break because of precisely what I tell each of you every night. The relativism that Immanuel Kant created uh, in the 1700s after the Age of Enlightenment. Um, it's way too difficult to reason with, because if I tell you, as I always tell you, it's the same case, that if someone tells you that this gaming mouse is a chair, and as a direct consequence of that, and as a direct consequence of that, uh, you just shit. And as a direct consequence of that, you tell the person that the arrangement of molecules and particles is that of a gaming mouse, and the person says, well, it's just a matter of opinion, just a matter of perception in that sense, and everything, and everything. Uh, it's way too difficult to see the influence from there, uh, because precisely the person will never be able to tell the difference between his opinion and reality. That's a real problem. He cannot tell the difference between what he's thinking and the objective arrangement of molecules and particles. He cannot tell the difference. He cannot tell the difference. He is convinced that what he has in his mind is reality, and that is way too difficult to break if the person has no morality at all about what he's doing in that sense. If you can get stupidly rich, generally with the activity I think you are mentioning and everything, I can assure you he won't be rich, and he will have an early bad outcome, let's say. I can assure you that, first of all, uh, because of how it works. The second thing is that money will not. It has to do with Nietzsche and nihilism in that sense. When he says, I don't care if I'm stupidly rich." Nihilism, as I told you, is the absence of purpose in human life. From nihilism, from the absence of purpose in human life, derives another one called hedonism, which Christianity precisely fought against this in the Roman Empire to fix it with Christianity precisely. He got robbed also of his job and almost beat it, almost caught, but he's so driven by some. He's driven by instincts. He's driven by instincts. And we are not meant to be driven by instincts. We are not meant to be driven by instincts because we are not animals, contrary to what most say. We have reason and logic. He decides to ignore them. We have reason and logic in that sense. But the thing is, precisely what I was going to tell you, hedonism means that the objective, that the purpose of human life is personal pleasure. In this case, money, sex, whatever he said about those things, whatever he aims to get from it. And that will really not make him feel better with himself at all. It will not make him feel better with himself, if you ask me. Why? Because it won't let him achieve a minimum. I'm not asking anyone to be the next Thomas Aquinas, but a minimum minimum, like the bare minimum amount of wisdom to 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 accomplish a state of happiness that is continuous. Happiness is not a burst of 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 laughter in a moment and etc. In that sense, like when someone gets drunk with friends or whatever, happiness is a continuous state of deep understanding of the universe in that sense, as much as possible, all of its aspects, all how all molecules arrange themselves in time and space. He's just trying to fulfill the void that his parents left by not teaching him shit as well. It's a great psychological analysis as well. I went more for the moral part, but yes, definitely agree on that one. Yes, never be like that. I know you're not like that, but yeah, in that sense, it always saddens me when I hear something like that, because there's really no reason. He besides Patrick, there's also an aggravating point. I know what you will tell me, that Hungary, I don't know, is not Switzerland. None of our countries are Switzerland in that sense, or I don't know, the United States, any country that you would think of as an ideal in general in a hypothetical situation. But still, he does live in a first world country. I know I'm not trying to minimize the hardships and everything and etc. But more or less, there are no wars in Hungary, really. There are no massive tragedies, like for example, my Syrian great grandfather was just grabbed and sent to the front line uh, as a civilian. Really, as far as I can tell, if you can prove me wrong, no worries. As far as I can tell, he's not living in a humanitarian crisis, so it wouldn't justify it morally and psychologically. But still, even if it wouldn't justify it, there would be conditions that encourage to do those things. And really, uh, despite any problem, he is living in the European Union. Uh, if he puts in effort, he already has a good percentage of it, of his hardships solved. But yeah, it can happen anywhere. Relativism can happen anywhere. So he told you precisely. I want to recap because it was a long one. Your heavy relative is really working. Let's just say what happened. I don't know, because I said I don't care if I hurt anyone. I get stupid really basically. It wasn't as a competition for me. Well, there you could see the terrible effects of relativism. The person saying that he does not care, it means that he's not only a relativist, he's an hedonist. An hedonist is someone who thinks that the ultimate purpose of human existence is personal pleasure. Hedonism. Precisely. It's called hedonism. It happened in the past. He's not the first or the last person who will be affected by that. But hedonism is derived from relativism. The thing is that I attack directly the cause in that sense. But in that case, it would be hedonism. To be precise, it's just that I debate against the base of hedonism, which is relativism, because it's more effective. But it's called hedonism, like with H-E-D-O, hedonism. It happened in the past. If you'd like, just write that word in Google and you will see examples of people in Greece, in Egypt and Rome, and throughout 2000 years uh, being hedonists, like thinking that the ultimate objective of human existence is personal pleasure. Fortunately, in the Roman Empire, Christianity solved this culturally, and during medieval ages, it was fortunately the point of least hedonist influence in that sense in history, and that's why it's called the Dark Ages, because one could say the hedonists were a bit butthurt during the Middle Ages. That's why they then called them Dark Ages, precisely because the ultimate purpose of human existence in those ages was to kind of like reach the promised land of heaven with God and all of those things. In that sense, people, you all know that really I do believe that the fabric of the universe is other than God, that I'm an atheist, but culturally that's the point in which I agree it was a quite positive influence. But he's a smart guy. He talks very sorry, I didn't read the previous one. I know, but they were okay. The messages were like kind of like written both almost together. Either that or my chat is broken. The scariest part, he can't think logically or think without about the god. No, basically. Well, you are realizing how I perceive the world. See, this is something that relativism can never reach. See, this is impossible because for them, everyone gets kind of like trapped in their own thoughts. See that in this case, whether you agree or disagree with everything I say, you can at least see how I see it in that sense, and I do the same with you. So just straight into the head, he cannot think about logically or about the consequences. He just straight into with head because he's young. He doesn't need to focus or on having discipline. But he's a smart guy. He talks very good, has a beautiful vocabulary. He speaks English better than me even, and has ethics like a gentleman. Ethics like a gentleman. And how is not an ethic selling toxic substances that kill people? How is that not ethic? In that sense, how is that not unethical? In that sense, no, I get your point. I get your point. For relativism, evil does not exist. It really does not exist because it's a matter of opinion. If everything is a matter of opinion, then evil can never exist in that sense. And no matter how many, my 2 cents, no matter how good he speaks English, no matter how smart nor charismatic the person may be, no matter how charismatic the person may be, the fact that he cannot explain why he's doing what he's doing, he has basic ethics better than anyone. If he cannot first I will go to the previous part. Patrick, if he cannot explain why he's doing what he's doing, is he that smart? If he cannot explain why. If he cannot explain why. He just told you, I don't care. I hurt anyone and I get stupidly rich. Can he explain why he's acting like he's acting? No. If he cannot explain it, he's being influenced. If he is being influenced, then that's not precisely a sign of intelligence. Second, about the ethics. Basic ethics, you say. There are millions of people right now who are maybe in a hard situation exactly like him. I can assure you potentially worse outside of the European Union and the United States and Canada. Yeah, exactly, but I love him as a friend and it's hard to acknowledge his stupidity. Well, I just said it because you said he was so smart. Yes, he may be intelligent about some things, how to survive in life, but can he explain why? Why? He doesn't know. Then I can assure you, you are much more intelligent in that sense. I cannot explain why. Regarding the ethics, yeah, exactly. But I love him as a friend, and it's hard to acknowledge his stupidity. That's perfectly fine, and you are a noble person for trying to reason with him to make him a better person objectively, in that sense. Because if you're mentioning to me an illegal activity and you have a quite good heart for doing that, we have a quite good heart for doing that without a doubt. Because I know it takes a lot of patience to debate with a relativist. In that sense, I would ask the person why he doesn't care. If he ever wondered why he doesn't care when they reply, "I don't care about anything. I don't give a shit about anything. I don't care about anything." That's nihilism for you. Read Nietzsche. That's Nietzsche. That's nihilism. Absence of purpose in human existence. I would ask the person why. The only thing that can ever make people reason like that is asking why constantly. I'm naive. I always wanted to think he or my other friends are smart and logically right now. I understand your good intentions. I understand your good intentions, but regarding the ethics, the basic ethics, I understand that maybe you are saying he's not aggressive. Maybe you're referring to that he's not aggressive, or the other friends for that matter. In that sense, to generalize it a bit, that they may do bad activities, but they are not precisely aggressive in their day-to-day lives. For example, something like that. Um, uh, some of the virtues that precisely Roman Catholicism instilled into the Roman society in the Middle Ages were that not only a person has to should society or people in a society, not only they have to, of course, be civilized and not insult and everything, but they also need to be brave. They also need to be. They need to have temperance. Temperance is the virtue in that sense. They need to be virtuous. They need to have the temperance, the judgment, the good judgment to be able to discern between good and evil. In that sense, he talks to people with a lot of respect. Basically, that's all. Well, precisely what I was mentioning. See, I did use it. That is not enough to create a virtuous society. I'm not saying it doesn't have a bit of value. It does have its value. Being civilized in that sense would be being civilized, having good manners and polite. You see that I do it every day in that sense, and I do believe it's good for society. Uh, this is not equivalent to not defending ourselves, but still, um, but it's not enough to create a virtuous society, if you ask me. Why? Why? Because as I've said, other virtues are required. Which ones? Temperance, ability to discern and judge objectively between good and evil. For me, good and evil are objective because I'm a realist. Precisely. But not only because of that, because it is like that. The arrangement of molecules and particles in time and space is like that. If the activity he does kills people, it's an evil activity. See, this is the part that society just couldn't accept when they turned relativist. This strictness, see that it's a strict, it implies taking a step back and judging and discerning and observing. The first rule of scholasticism is being in being in a state of constant observation. It's much easier to say I don't care and not putting in the effort of observing. What's the direct consequence? You don't observe anything. See that he's not observing. He's not observing, really. What is he observing if he just says, I don't care? When you say I don't care, it is another way to replace I'm not observing. I'm not observing anything. If you don't observe, you cannot perceive reality. How are you going to perceive reality if you don't observe? Then you get enclosed in your mind. That's the thing. That's the thing. Because observing implies judging. And judging is not a bad word. Strictness, discipline, and judging, they are not bad words. They are for relativism. Why? Because it's easier to say I don't care. Because it's easy to say much easier to say I don't care. See why your conversation led you nowhere. Precisely because of that, what I told you. Most of the population, for most of the population, it's much easier to understand life like that. In that sense. Because they are not required to observe. In all of the talks that we've had, Patrick, how many times, naturally, because of how I talk or whatever, I unconsciously, unwillingly, maybe even, force you to observe reality. Constantly, probably constantly. I constantly force you to observe reality, to hold a conversation with me, uh, because of the fact that I'm a realist. In your conversations with them, you must feel that nothing matters because no one is encouraged or forced to observe reality, to be in a state of constant observation. That is one of the terrible consequences of relativism, and why I oppose it so much after reading about both stances. Because, precisely, it forces you to not observe. It doesn't force you to observe. Let's do the opposite. It does not encourage you to observe. And if you are not an observant person, if all of society is not observant, everyone gets recluded in their own minds, and we never reach any objective conclusions. See the problem? I tried to sweetly explain realism to him. I can only picture how that went, Patrick, how that went. But the person needs to be prepared. I explained it to you because of your own curiosity and because you were prepared in that sense. But when I hit a nerve with but is it your job making people addicts or dead or not? And he said he doesn't want to talk about, no. Well, damn. That's way too much efficiency. He said, I don't want to talk about it more. Well, at that point, the person had no response to your debating skills. I'm sorry to tell you. That's why I said it was not meant bad. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's basically I don't have any answer. You understand that? I don't want to talk about something anymore. I don't I I don't have an answer to what you are telling me. Precisely, and good use there is precisely what I told you last week. Is it objectively the arrangement of molecules and particles your job? Killing people? Yes, if so. Well, at that point, I don't know if I should congratulate you, Patrick, because someone who tells you I don't want to talk about it anymore is basically I have no response to that. My mind cannot go beyond it, so I was also right about not so intelligent regarding that, at least. I do not doubt that he may be intelligent about a lot of other things. Um, a farmer once met a little figure to the dead. He traveled on reason, like, but as soon as he turned and knew the sovereign. Too early to embrace her, the shadows came and took his love forever lost. Oh, a nice story here. So I don't know if to congratulate you about how smart you are, because not everyone would be prepared to absorb the things I say, especially at a very young age. Much you are learning it some 2-3 years younger than what I did. So, in that sense, I congratulate you for your brilliant mind. And well, sorry if well the knowledge I provide to you most powerful skill is that I'm the most curious guy in the planet. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I congratulate you, but it's not my idea that, to convert people to realism. I'm drinking the words. No, no. Well, no, I'm happy because of one thing. I'm happy because of one thing. Because you applied the theory to the practice and you could verify with empirical evidence, basically testing it with, at the end of the day, a test subject, that everything that I tell you, whether I am right or wrong, it's with my best intention to enrich anyone who wants to listen to me, because in that sense, that last phrase, when you told him that, he said, "I don't want to talk about it more," is I don't have any more arguments. You understand that? I don't have any more arguments. I don't have any more arguments. So I debated in law school, Patrick. The problem is that I debated not only against communists that were relatively easier because I reached, yeah, exactly, because I reached a similar point to what you reached there that you are telling me, so I knew it was going to happen. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't trying to make him a realist. I wasn't aggressive with him. I understood. Yeah, but that's it. I bet you could see that you reached a point in which relativism ran out of arguments. You cannot say I don't care as a response to everything. There, most will do that, and beautiful blue together. This is a sophisticated Ask your installers about the server. Bring 2000 matter. Hey, District was right. I was going to need more matter fragments to proceed. Fortunately, we have a lot from last time. Yeah, I'm drinking the. No, oh, I would have a last question for today. Sure, fire away, fire away. But well, I'm very happy that you could verify in real life that I'm not a crazy psychopath saying whatever comes out of my head. That you could verify it in real time. I congratulate you for it, because as you said, only a curious, brilliant mind would do that, especially at your young age. I don't know. I can assure you, well, maybe there's a miracle, but it won't bring you a lot of money, but um, it will give you. Well, you are already reaping the rewards. It will give you. It will allow you to understand people on a much deeper level. In that sense, to understand why people act like they do. We've talked about having sex without any love or interest, only just to fulfill desires. I obviously disagree, but he's on the other side. What is your opinion? I don't know if it makes sense. I'm tired. No, 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 no. It's part of hedonism. It doesn't matter if it's money or or sex. It doesn't matter if it's sex or money. It's hedonism at the end of the day. Ignore the activity itself. think why the person would do it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's money or what you are describing. Personal pleasure is at the end of the day. It's called hedonism. Google hedonism, and there you will have it. It's been analyzed and solved by Christianity precisely in the Roman Empire and the medieval ages that are so hated nowadays. They had that solved, and people had this. I love how nowadays modernly, precisely to insult what actually happened. What actually happened? They all of the TV series are about that, and that back in and they say that back in ancient ages, I know they were all depraved and they were all fake and shit like Game of Thrones and that shit. No, it does not reflect reality. It does not reflect reality. It was dominated by the Catholic Church, and there was an absolute respect for some things that it just simply does not reflect reality. If you like, I can get into the topic once again in the modern representation of those times, but in which hedonism was fortunately suppressed, rightfully, rightfully, because of all of the terrible consequences that I have been telling you, that it won't bring happiness to the person, that simply what you are telling me. He just fulfills his desire. It's called hedonism. It has a name. It's been analyzed. It's been analyzed time and time again, time and time again, and in Middle Ages and in the Roman Empire, it was fortunately suppressed, contrary to what the stupid modern relativist representations of it do by writers of movies that do not even know about any of these. They don't even know about any of these. I don't think any writer of any movie had to go through learning history and philosophy to do so. They should, because they are doing a cultural representation of something they don't understand. But I think what I told you, that hedonism does not bring happiness to the person, because the ultimate purpose in life is attaining wisdom. It is true love is also part of it. True love is also part of it, but love does not have to do with with precisely sex. Sex is a consequence of love. Sex is a consequence of love that we can find in the animal realm, and we are not animals. But why is it a consequence? Because it's the ultimate purpose, according to Christianity, and I do agree with this, is the reproduction of our species, not personal pleasure. Why? Because I'll tell you this. I know you must be tired and it must be quite late, but the key of what you are asking me is this. As human beings, one of the most sacred, let's not use the word sacred because that may have a religious connotation. One of the most important things we have. What is it, Patrick, if you think about it? What would you say it is? Like, not a material possession, not our money, it's not our money. There's something more precious to us. I know it's late, so I won't make you think anymore. Our genetics. Our mind, exactly. Our mind, our genetics. The things that nature, our parents provided to us. That which nature provided to us. Our minds, our genetics in general. Not only our mind, our organs, our genetics. The people who say that that he only just said, which one you said, without any love or only just to fulfill the desires and everything. If you what makes us humans different from animals? No, I'm not tired, but I don't. But if I don't sleep, I will in history class. Okay, okay. No, let me finish this because this is the key to what you asked, and I bet you haven't heard this in a long time because of relativism. Our minds, our genetics, our nature. If we give to any random person, because at the end of the day, doing that is giving our genetics, our time, love, and attention to any random person, right? Follow the line of reasoning. I know it must be late and it's terrible to to think on this level at that time of the night over there. Um, if you give your genetics constantly, randomly, without any thought, to any random person, do you appreciate yourself? If it's the most important thing you have more than money and you give it so easily to anyone instead of a single person in a monogamous relationship, are you appreciating yourself? Really? Do you value what you have? No, really, your own genetics don't have any value to you. If you so easily give your most precious the most precious part of your essence, which is your genetics and your mind. Oh, that's interesting, because I never heard that before. What the hell? Yes, if you give so easily your genetics as a man or woman, the most important part of your essence, do you really appreciate yourself on the same level as a monogamous relationship with a single person that you love? No, it's impossible. That's why this is how monogamous relationships started, when back in ancient Rome people realized this through Christianity, through Western Christianity in Europe. And that set the difference with the back then Germanic barbarians. And further beyond, all to the east, basically, China was doing a disaster with the Huns and everything outside of Greece and Rome, especially in Rome once Christianity flourished. They realized these people 2,000 years ago, let's say, and nowadays we have people who don't realize this. If you, once again, because I know it's a very abstract concept, what is the most precious thing we have? If I ask you, I offer you, and I'll prove to you it's the most important thing now. Because then someone could say, it's not the most important thing, I just grab 3 chicks and that's it. See that even if they don't admit it, what I mentioned, our genetics, is the most important thing. If I ask any of them, hypothetical situation, Patrick, I offer you $1 million, but you have to cut your 2 legs and your 2 arms. Would they do it? Do you picture they would do it? Your most relativist friend, that one that doesn't care about anything. Would you picture he would accept cutting his both arms and legs for $1 million? Not even the most relativist would do that. Why? Because genetics are the most important thing that human beings have, not what he's mentioning. And precisely because of that, monogamous relationships are the only way in which we can truly give our genetics to the one person we truly love, and not giving our genetics randomly to anyone we stumble upon on the street. Precisely. Why? Because as well, sex is a consequence of love, not a required condition previous to it. It's a consequence of love for the reproduction of our species. If people give it another function, it won't give them happiness because they are using it as a toy in which they give their genetics, which is the most important thing, even if they don't admit they have, even if we all have, even if we don't admit, even if they don't admit it, even if they don't admit it, to anyone on the street. And that's why, I can assure you, it won't bring them happiness. And that's why it's negative, objectively, in that sense. And because of that, the person will be unhappy. But of course, doing all of this line of reasoning, well, it implies reading. It implies reading. Reading. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you in that sense. Being crazy like me, I guess I can only say. No, putting in a lot of effort that most people are just way too lazy to do so. Because you need to observe a lot and read a lot. So there was one that I skipped. What makes us humans different from animals? Precisely. What makes us humans different from animals? We are not animals. We derive from animals. That is a fallacy that we are monkeys. We are derived from monkeys because we have logic. Because our brain suffered mutations drastic enough. Our brain suffered mutations drastic enough when we derived from monkeys as to be a completely different arrangement of molecules and particles than animals, because we have logic. We obey to rules that simply our the rest of the beings that we share the planet with, they do not obey to them. They do not obey those rules. I think that guy survived barely. Good. Good. Talk to him. Not bad. Good. Make a good soldier. So, since we obey to completely different rules because our brain suffered mutations drastic enough compared to animal, to the other beings that we share the planet with, we are a completely different arrangement of molecules and particles. From birth, human babies suffer chemical reactions in their brains that animals don't. There's a reason why. I don't know, it's true, I never told it to you. I told it to Ambra the other day. Do you know why I chose a koala instead of a monkey for the emote of the Drakensang developer? If you watch the VOD, you already know the answer because I told it to Ambra in a joke. But if not, it's because the koalas, contrary to monkeys, have smooth brains. That's why smooth brain is an insult. Literally, they never evolved their brains. They are some of the dumbest mammals because their brains never evolved at all, to the point that they only eat one plant. They only eat one plant, which is the eucalyptus. They are adorable. Huh? I love koalas, so there's also they are adorable. They have that nice, naive expression in their faces. They are adorable. But it is true they have smooth brains. They are dumb. If you don't put the eucalyptus leaf on the on it, if you don't bring the koala physically to the plant, the animal won't eat and he will just die. If you grab a lot of people, this happened to a lot of people. They cut the leaves and they put them on a dish and they tried to feed them to save them with the best intention in the world, but they wouldn't eat it because they couldn't recognize it because of the smooth brain in that sense, because they only eat that, and without eating several foods, the brain then cannot do the chemical reactions to start evolving, so they never evolved. The monkeys did eat several other things, and not only that, they hunted like wolves and etc., and they developed the brain precisely to the point it suffers such drastic mutations. I cannot even begin to describe you the drastic mutations that the human brain suffers that animals don't suffer. And because of that, never be convinced that we are animals. No, no. We can control our instincts and obey the rules of logic. Of logic. And because of that, we are not animals. In that sense. Don't know if I provided anything of value to you, Patrick, but that's pretty much what I would reply to anyone who told me precisely that. Who told me precisely that. Uh, do you believe that people can change? A person who has been misled for 20 years, can he become a fully respectful human being? Interesting question and topic, redemption. Well, not in a religious way, but redemption in logic. Yes, I do believe so. I do believe so in most cases. Of course, I think people who have already killed other human beings, specifically those, like directly, like committing a murder or a crime, uh, that is the part in which I diverge from the Catholic Church and adhere to British Protestantism. I know that I must be an alien too. I should be analyzed as a always providing value to me, man. We can't say that you should. No, no. The only ones that you should do that are your parents, not me. Not me, Patrick. I'm. But well, still, thank you, and I'm flattered because of it. No, well, that's an interesting part of my personality that is quite unique. I must admit, you won't hear this response quite frequently. I adhere to the culture of Roman Catholicism regarding the political spectrum, the conservative part of it, and etc. But you reach the topic, the very topic, redemption, in which I support the British Crown, the British Empire, Protestantism, William of Ockham, and as a direct consequence, the United States 300 years afterwards, in that sense. I am a bit more strict with criminals that take the lives of others. Roman Catholicism believes the main difference between Roman Catholicism and Protestantism, real quick, personified by Thomas Aquinas and William of Ockham. William of Ockham, British, Thomas Aquinas, Italian, precisely Roman Catholic. That is the part in which I adhere more to British Protestantism. That's the Anglophile in me. You met the Anglophile in me. Specifically about crime and really terrible crimes, I do not believe in redemption, and that is why I mentioned to you that I would execute drug lords and really, really bad criminals on the spot, precisely. And I say it open. I have no doubt about it. In that sense, Roman Catholicism does believe in redemption. For lighter offenses like what you describe about your friend and etc. and being a victim of relativism, yes, I definitely do agree that redemption can exist, and it's absolutely possible, even if it looks damn near impossible. Even if it looks damn near impossible, I do think it could potentially happen. Yes, I do. The only cases I would say it cannot happen, and I agree with Protestantism, with the British and the United States, is when the existence of that person is just really so much of a threat that society needs to defend. Society needs to defend and fight evil objectively. Hungarian police brutally brought bank execution, but for their enjoyment. No, 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 no. It's not that. It's not that. That is corruption. No, no, no. That is corruption, Patrick. No, no. Uh, uh, I mean this. I mean this. In the United States. In the United States, when someone pulls a knife and tries to kill everybody or whatever, I do agree that the police should always have a bigger weapon and execute the person if he's going to do that. I do agree on that. I do agree on that. If the person is going to cause an immediate danger to society, I do not agree with this modern thing is this modern idea that police shouldn't be respected in that sense. No, what you're mentioning is corruption and it's a completely different thing. We are talking about uh, conditions without political. I just said that because happened in the last week. Two police officers killed a drug dealer because he was a gypsy and they found 2 grams of weed. And it's usual, but the person was selling the drugs. Well, as I said, in that specific case, unless it's unless it's the real head of the organization, I do believe the person would have redemption. But still, if it's for their enjoyment, no. If there's a quote of sadism, no. No, that part, no. No, it would, in that sense. But I do agree that eliminating, nah, they kill him because he was a gypsy. Okay, okay, but he was selling the drugs. The drugs do kill people. I just want you to always remember that. The solution maybe could be a bit more sophisticated, but the ethical base of the action, if it wasn't, you're telling me it wasn't like sadist. The person is selling the drugs. Are the drugs killing people? Yes. Yes. What's the function of the of police corps in general? Of the people we pay their salaries to protect us, protect the members of society that put in a lot of effort doing activities that are not illegal with those things, right? Did they fulfill their purpose in that sense? You are telling me they weren't sadists. You are telling me, well, the part of the well, if you are telling me that they brought it for their enjoyment, and no, it gets contradictive, the message, because then you tell me no, they just executed because of nationality or something like that. What I can tell you is that, for example, in the case of the United States, I wholeheartedly agree that people who are a danger to society do immediately they don't have redemption. The ones that you are describing, it has to be something of years and years that they already know and is doing it. I would say that maybe the smaller ones that you are describing could have been fixed in a more sophisticated way. True, but I'll ask you this question: how much time did you have to think about the situation that you are telling me? The person who that you are telling me exactly 1 week, last week. The person. How much time did you have since the act happened, and you are telling it to me? How much time did you spend thinking about it? As I said, it could have been a more sophisticated solution. It could have been a more sophisticated solution. but they fulfilled their role in society, in that sense. How much time did you have between the exact moment in which the success happened and you are telling it to me? How many days did you think about it? It's important. You'll see why. Tell me, please. How many days did you spend, or did you have the time to spend thinking about it? More or less. 5 days, you said last week. 1 week. You had 1 week of time to think about it. More or less? Patrick? More or less. I mean, he must be already asleep. More or less. How much time could you spend thinking about it? Less, obviously. 1 week. More or less. 1 week. How much time did you spend? No, it's not less. How much time could you spend since they killed the person and you are telling it to me? That lapse of time. 1 week. No, it's not because of what you think. No. If I think it, you are saying less time. Obviously, it's not because of what you think that I'm asking that. It's not because of that. It's because of a different reason. How much time did you have? 1 week. I'll assume 1 week. I'll assume 1 week because you said last week. You saw the success and it happened 1 week and now you're telling it to me. How much time did the police officer have between finding the person, getting into an aggressive situation, and finally taking the decision to execute the drug lord or whatever? Not a drug lord, it's a guy selling it. How much time? What was which was the window of time, the span of time in which he had to make a quick decision? Because the person must have gotten aggressive somehow. They generally don't turn in easily. I think I have to collect the shit. Catapult stones from... Ah no, well, maybe I have to restart the map. The police officer had probably minutes, seconds between the person pulling out a knife or getting aggressive and whatever the situation derived into. What I mean by this is that the police officers have a lot less reaction time than us that are observing it from behind. This was a study in the United States. The police, and that's why they have the strict rules that they have about it. The police officer has seconds to make a quick decision. The amount of biological processes that happen when he has to pull the gun and shoot have been studied over and over again. The hands begin to shake. The blood of your body goes to your legs when humans get scared, because the police officers also get scared. The blood goes to your legs so you can run faster. It's a biological reaction, for example. And you start losing the blood in the brain. Not losing, you won't fall unconscious. But it's derived to the legs, the blood. It happens in a matter of seconds. It's an absolutely incredible process. Well, incredible. It's not good because the person is scared, but that is the part of the instinct precisely that we have. So the police officer suffers a lot of biological processes and has to make a decision in a matter of seconds. I ask you then, you and me, we have plenty of time to analyze the morality of their acts from the comfort of our chairs or whatever, or wherever you analyzed it from. But they had seconds. With that in mind, Are we really that much so entitled to judge them when they had seconds and we had a lot of time and we didn't go through the biological reaction of it, of being there so much? I think no, and this is the reason why I agree more with Protestantism, with the British and with the Americans, with the United States, regarding security. Because of this, because the police officer has a very short window of time to make a decision with a lot of biological reactions that are not addressed, and it also has legal consequences if you're interested in them. Our European countries use something called continental law system. Our judges are just lawyers. They are just lawyers that apply the theory to the practice. In that specific case, I agree with the United States, I agree with the British and the common law system in which the judges are a jury. They are a jury, instead like you see in the movies, not like us continental Europeans that use the continental law system in which the judge is just a single person, a lawyer that did a career for that. They use the jury, and I do agree that it's much more fair using a jury of normal people, because instead of obeying to the theory, they will take into account what I just told you. What I just told you, that the police officer had 3 seconds to take the life of someone, to decide taking the life of someone. Hmm? That was a threat to society. Experienced a lot of biological processes, even if he's trained, that simply a judge, you and me, cannot understand without going through them. So because of that, I support the common law system. I support juries instead of our continental EU law systems that in which the judge is just a lawyer. It's just a trained lawyer for that, and he decides then if the police officer acted correctly or not. That is the part in which, well, you got to know the Anglophile in me. Is that part? I have to go to sleep now. I will watch the boss. Have a great night. Thank you for the grim stream as always. Erase our face. Well, there. Thank you, Patrick, for visiting. Hope you have a great sleep, and well, always hope everything that I tell you, you can see it is my most sincere opinion, and I hope that it somehow helps you, even if maybe you don't agree with everything I say. That sounds perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Yeah, Peter. Okay. Have a great night. Have a great night. I hope it had value for you, as I always tell you. Hope it has value for you. That's the only thing that matters. Okay, people. Okay. So these catapult stones. People. We have to find a way to loot them. I don't know where they are. It says wandering stone golems. Maybe I'm skipping them or some shit like that because I killed some of them. Or the heavy criminal. Or the object is like has a very low drop rate. Could it be? I don't know. Whatever it is, I can't find it here. Maybe I need to play it on normal. They only drop on normal. I don't know, but they are just not dropping at all. They are just not dropping at all. Oh well. Uh, as I said, I hope everything that I say, people, is always of somehow value to to all of you everything that I say. In that sense. Mm. It should be dropped by this thing. Wandering Stone Golem. Catapult Stone, there. There. There, loot it. Inventory full, but I didn't see them drop that shit previously. Get out of here. Here. Good, that's one. Either the loot disappeared last time or I don't know. Oh, well. These ones. It should be these ones. I don't know if we're getting to the end or what. Yeah, it's a very low run. I'm brighter. I'm brighter. I'm brighter. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. We have to find those. I think you cannot find any more goals in here. I think it's only these two that do it. I think it's only these two that drop it, huh? Can't find any more golds. Yeah, yeah, there's one more there. Let's do that. Wandering Stone. Ah, but this one is blue. Blue quality, okay. There's apparently a difference. There's one more. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. By now, people, regarding the analysis, we've already covered everything that the game has to offer pretty much. We've analyzed every single aspect of it, and only the final analysis remains. Only the final analysis remains, in that sense. Only the final analysis of it remains. Of it, we've done everything. To the final analysis of it, and that's perfect. Hey, we get to load the catapult. We get to load the catapults, more than one. Look at that. Good. Pretty much. Teleportals will aid us. Thank you for your help. So we will attack together with the catapult. Alright, will you load our catapults? I will watch for signs of the strategic goal. Yeah, I did load the catapults. Did I load it? Yeah. You have to load some more. Report to the Strategos Galin in the lower city of Telepolus. Damn it, now we're getting with the Spartans. I feel like in that chapter of Samurai Jack, in which he gets to fight alongside the Spartans, in that sense, when he gets to fight alongside the Spartans. All done. Great. We'll give the Imperial space signs to attack. Hopefully we can defeat the traitors. War? Did you hear the crash? Our firepower was stronger than I expected. With the traitors, so they're not preparing for me, so we will take this and give me a report. I'm in the traitors camp in Telepolus. In Telepolus. Okay. Hey, this is also a good zone to farm the matery fragments, I guess. Because so far, I had to pay 2,000 and I was at 9,000, and look at that, I have 500 again. So I've been able to farm a bit more of it. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Uh-huh. There we go. Where's the leader? It also is in the trader's camp. Pretty much. I want one more point. Alright, we are back at 10 ice missiles. Good. We are back at full power ice missile. At full powered ice missile. Examine that. Talk to the capture in the trader's camp. Oh! A hooded figure. This is interesting. People, a hooded figure in the middle of a Spartan battlefield. Where am I? I, the dark creature. It soaked me into the lantern. How long has it been? All I remember is a book, a richly ornamented one, and then all went black. I must have been captured then. Do you know where I was back then, or where to find out how to free me? Please help me. Meanwhile, I'll wait here. I feel so weak. I need to collect energy to materialize. Talk to the Great Index in the library of Cardham. Goddammit. This character is quite intriguing right there. It's as if death had reincarnated. Pretty much. It's as if death had reincarnated there. Quite interesting concept they are playing with right there. Quite interesting concept in that sense. Quite interesting concept. Quite interesting concept. I mean, we debated for 1 hour and 43 minutes. Shit. I always love those things. See, imagine if the rest of Twitch was like like my stream, people. First of all, we would have massive massive disturbs on the streets. No, no, no. The world would be better in that sense. The world would be better. Not all of, not all of them, but just um, a bit more like, like introspective, like mine is. So yeah, pretty much in that sense. What can I do for you? An imprisoned soul? That did not happen here. I would never allow it, and I cannot remember any soul that entered this amazing library but never returned. But a lantern does ring something. If I remember correctly, the book Creatures of the Dark should have a chapter about creatures with lanterns. You should ask it, but let me warn you. This fellow is a little rough and mumbles some depressing things. Well, who would not turn sour with such terrifying content? Huh. Okay, we get a second story. This one is picking up my interest much more than the previous one. This character feels like the Wanderer, like the Dark Wanderer in Diablo 2. Pretty much. Pretty much. Okay, so let's hear the story from the other book. Material fragment there. There it is. Creatures of the Dark. Who are you? Evil intentions? No? Ha! As I would believe you. A lantern lover. One moment, the soul collector captures souls inside his lantern that shines brightly of darkness and strengthens their shadow king. Despicable creatures, but then who isn't? Everyone is despicable, the whole world is, and the afterlife. See, that's a terrible consequence of what we were discussing before of hedonism and relativism, that it makes people believe that everyone is evil and mediocre, and that's not true. Humanity has done some amazing things for everyone, and our quality of life has improved a lot. We discovered morality and dignity and good and evil and those things. It is not true. It is not true. It is simply not true that everyone is evil and we should be negative about everything that does not go perfectly right in humanity. That is true. That is terribly true. Should be able to get through this shit. In terms of the analysis and the structure that we're going to follow, people pretty much have already analyzed all of the gameplay mechanics of the game. We'll keep going until we reach the final analysis, and then I will award the game the final qualification with our legendary final analysis. A lot of you haven't been in a final analysis of mine so far, so pretty much. Pretty much. Well, quite interesting character, this one, huh? It has piqued my interest. It has piqued my interest in that sense. If it was for me, I would turn that character into into somehow the Wanderer of Diablo. Into somehow the Wanderer of Diablo and turn him into a deity of evil that you have to beat. I don't know. The Soul Collector, yes, this is the one, but where was I when he captured me? Although he's gone now, I seem to be still bound to the lantern. Although this time it was an advantage, as the shadow creatures couldn't attack me. You know what this reminds me of, people? It also reminds me of the concept of dual monsters of Yu-Gi-Oh! In which the soul of the pharaoh is trapped in a Millennium Puzzle, like that, because he was trapped in a lantern. I can't move on my own without the lantern, and I'm not able to hold it as well. Can you please help me and take me to somewhere safe? Okay, get into the lantern. We're going. Bring the lantern to the lower city of Telepolis. Hey, we're getting boosted experience, then let's complement that with the encyclopedia of experience as we keep completing quests. Maybe with that and the pet. Where's the other pet? There we go. Let's go with our trusty dragon. So now we should get 10 plus the encyclopedia of experience plus the event. So we should farm XP quite fast. Fuck. I was way too focused on that precisely. Besides, as we do quests, oh, those ones have that nasty range attack. Damn it. We're not going to get a lot of experience like this. Alright, it's because I appeared there. Ah, there was another one. Ah, nasty range attack. Range attack there. Out of here. Yeah, I'll kill as I move to get the experience. That's right, a lot of small enemies to farm. The frost wind there and boost our basic attacks. Oh, was a nice try, but there was no one to hit with that. Okay, people. Quite interesting talks we have here on the channel. Quite interesting. I'm deeply proud of that. There he is. Oh, we arrived. Much better. You have my thanks. Hey, Sequoia, this part of the story is it's very well done, if you ask me. Very well done. I'm liking the story of this guy. Oh, damn it. I have a mosquito in there. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. Yeah, the summer, people. The summer starts. The summer starts and that pest starts to appear. That disgusting pest starts to appear. Give me a second, people. I will drink some water. That disgusting pest starts to appear. The mosquito. You know that animal is responsible for killing lots more humans in the world, more than any other thing you could think about, any other animal you could think about. You could think normally. I bet you all thought that, oh no, elephants kill a lot of humans. Oh no, lions, a lot of other brutal, a lot of other brutal animals in that sense. And no, it's really not the case. The mosquito has killed many more people alongside, because they are like vampires. They are like vampires. They suck your blood. They suck your blood to a point. Well, they don't kill you, but they have a bit of poison, and they transmit from one to another, and they do so much, and they multiply so much that they bring all of the infections in the world. That's why they are disgusting. Suddenly the people are cheering for something. What happened? I'll wait here for you, so can you find out what is going on? I'm curious. Talk to Theron in the lower city of Telepolis. Talk to Theron. Why the uproar? Roar. No, the people are happy. Our greatest hero, Aristides, returned and battles against the hordes of the shadows. If he fights at our side, we'll win for sure. Is the shadow? No, I think it's the other one. Okay. Okay, it's the city, but it's the other camp. Hey, there he is. Did you fight your way through the shadow hordes? Impressive. There aren't many who would be capable of this. Aid is appreciated, so if you don't mind, let's get rid of this dark pest. Yes, that is it. Defeat the shadow. No mercy. No, indeed. Do I have to protect him from the dying? I don't think so. He's a legendary hero. He doesn't need me to do so. I love how he fights without weapons. Does he have a weapon? No. With his bare hands. That is a stylish. That is a stylish, people. That is a stylish, definitely. Fighting with your bare hands like this guy's doing. That is quite stylish. He's a quite... I love it, he's surrounded and killing everything. There we go, let's help the guy. Interesting. This is... I think I activated all of the experience boosts right at the correct moment. In the very perfect correct moment. Look at this, how we are farming that shit. Would you look at that? Interesting, interesting. I activated it at the perfect moment because we'll get the experience from the monsters he's killing. It's a quest that involves killing monsters. We're getting the experience from the monsters we're killing, plus the quest completion XP. So we are doing plus 100, plus 50, and plus 10. All of those together. 100, it was a 150, yeah, 160 in total. 160 in total. We are going through. 160 boosted XP there, as just in case this game has another fucking wall jump from 55 to 80. Pretty much, so yes. There we go. Not bad, but not good enough. We need more glue. The key to crush the shadows is light essence. You can harvest it from Umbra stones, unique to the underworld. If you need essences, an Umbra stone field is here in Telepos. In the southeast, you should never fight unprepared for too long. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Defeat all Umbriters in the Amberstone field. Yeah, I have already done this. Pretty much. pretty much. There we go. Done. Collect 20 light essences from Amber stones in. You mean from this thing? Ah, they give 5 each. Okay. They are like light sphere. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. 5 light essence. There. Ah, they don't stack. 5 per each of them. Okay. 5 for each of them. For each stack of them. Armor value, whatever. Let's clear the inventory a bit. Yes, apply those resistances. See? Yes, poison resistance as well. Poison resistance. 1, 2. 2 out of 2. Collect 2 light spheres. Ah, they are different tasks. Okay, that should do it. Sure, it'll restate this, the light spheres and everything. We're going back, people. We need to get that one done. So, regarding the other topic that District mentioned, the riots. Yeah, riots. The riots. Yeah, the person should definitely go to jail and all of the people around it. Yes, these are the right ones. I inserted them into my sword and now it slides through the shadows like a hot knife. Like a hot knife, like a hot knife through a staple of Tiganites. Tiganites, what the fuck is a Tiganite? Oh, you found the light sphere. You can turn every other normal into light. Okay. The creatures here are small fries, but if you encounter a soul collector, you are doomed. Without the essences, he's pure darkness that wanders around, searching for souls to trap. You never know when and where he will appear. Oh, the irony. Where could we find one of those? Where could we possibly find one of those? Where could we possibly find one of those? Where? People, where? Where could we possibly find one of those soul collectors? The underworld is more dangerous than ever before because of the shadows. Don't take a single step without enough light essences. Please return to the lower city of the low post and tell them that the biggest threat is over, but I will not rest until the last shadow is gone for good. Talk to Strategos Galini in the lower city of the low post. Light essence. Now don't tell me that I'll have to go collect light essence instead of the matery fragments. Can you imagine that? Okay, okay, player. It's been months, because without help it would have been months. You are done with the matery fragments. Don't you worry. We got you covered. We got you covered. Now you are going to collect light essences. You fought together with Aristide. That's astonishing. He's the greatest hero of all. To be able to fight alongside. It's incredible that all of this story, all of this, most people will never experience it because they have to get through the underworld. Through the underworld, sorry, through the underworld. There, they have to go through the underworld, there, and in that sense, most will not even experience it. Most will not even experience it. You surprised me. Thanks to you, we could renew the peace with the Imperials as well. We are deeply indebted to you. Talk to the captured soul. Oh my fucking god. A hero defeated the shadows, and both of you used light essences. So these are indeed the to overcome the shadows. Interesting. Eraser, I have a request. Bring me to the library. I want to learn about the soul collector. I want to free myself from his claws. Take the lantern and put it in your bag. Inventory full? No, there we go. Bring that to the city of Cardham. Place it into an occasional table. This is interesting, people. The final this final stretch of the story is getting quite interesting. Also, I like the zone. If it weren't for the fact that you have to farm those crazy material fragments and everything, it's a quite good zone. Artistically, in that sense. It is true that it's the worst in the case of level design, because there's a jump from level 55 to 80 without any kind of reason. Without any kind of reason, but still. But still. Still, people. Still. Still. Nice. Still, it's quite a pity. I feel terribly bad that that most of the population will not ever get to experience this great zone, and the storyline is good. It's also a pity that it's not told with voice acted uh, dialogue lines in that sense. It's a pity. My two main criticisms to the story of the game is first the fact that it's not connected in between regions. In that sense, I always praise Star Wars: The Republic because it's an MMORPG that fixed the one problem that World of Warcraft had. In that sense, precisely because of that, because it has a cohesive storylines, perfectly intertwined. So, yeah, pretty much. Look who is back again. How was it? Could you find your lantern monster? Oh, when we talk about lanterns, I thought about changing the lighting. Don't you think it is a little dark in some hallways? Maybe brighter candles or lamps as well. What about a pink light? Do you think this color would suit me? Hmm, better some apricot. I want to present myself to visitors in all of my glory. Sparkling, amazing, just incredible. So, what do you think? You want to know where Narina is? She went to Tetaconatl after she read something about dark magic. It was as if lightning had struck her. She ran out of the library shouting, I'm going to Tetaconatl, and was gone. It was like a rainbow unicorn on a carrot diet. Have you ever seen a unicorn craving for the orange snack? You are in danger of being trampled down if you stand in between. I wonder what Nerina found out. Find the portal in Tetaconatl in the suburb of Cardham. Okay. Interesting. A new clue. Damn.